All right, welcome back to Talking Fitchburg.
Welcome back.
Welcome back. We are, as we talked about earlier, we had our Vets Day program, one of our biggest, well-attended events. In fact, we had 100 for lunch. It was super busy.
Really?
Yeah.
How many of those were vets, did you say?
We had 34 vets,
Okay.
so yeah, it was awesome. Anyway, so we're
Cool.
going to take a look at that great event. It's about 6 minutes, and so if you couldn't be there, you can sort of be there right with us today as they show a little video about that event.
Awesome.
Yeah. How's that?
Jill, and thank you all for coming today to honor our veterans. It's a great honor for me to live in a community and to represent a community that has so many service men and women that we honor today. This has become a regular and constant pleasure for me to come to this event, and I thank everyone who's participating in the program. And again, for veterans, thank you for your service. Jill.
Senator John McClain was incarcerated in Vietnam for over 5 years, and among his writings is a story about how they valued the American flag. In the hellish prison with constant torture, one prisoner gave all Americans a lesson in what true patriotism and love of country really is. As you may know, I spent 5.5 years as a prisoner of war during the Vietnam War. In the early years of our imprisonment, the NVA kept us in solitary confinement, or 2 or 3 to a cell. In 1971, the NVA moved us from these conditions of isolation into large rooms with as many as 30 to 40 men into a room. This was, as you can imagine, a wonderful change and was a direct result of the efforts of millions of Americans on behalf of a few hundred POWs 10,000 miles away. One of the men who moved into my room was a young man called Mike Christian. Mike came from a small town near Selma, Alabama. He didn't wear a pair of shoes until he was 13 years old. At 17, he enlisted in the U.S. Navy. He later earned a commission by going to officer training school. Then he became a naval flight officer and was shot down and captured in 1967. Mike had a keen and deep appreciation of the opportunities this country and our military provide for people who want to work and want to succeed. As part of the change in treatment, the Vietnamese allowed some prisoners to receive packages from home. In some of these packages were handkerchiefs, scarves, and other items of clothing. Mike got himself a bamboo needle. Over a period of a couple months, he created an American flag and sewed it in the inside of his shirt. Before we had a bowl of, every afternoon, before we had a bowl of soup, we would hang Mike's shirt on the wall of the cell and say the Pledge of Allegiance. I know the Pledge of Allegiance may not seem like the most important part of our day now, but I assure you that in that stark cell, it was indeed the most important and meaningful event. One day, the Vietnamese searched our cell, as they did periodically, and discovered Mike's shirt with the flag sewn inside and removed it. That evening, they returned, opened the door of the cell, and for the benefit of all of us, beat Mike Christian severely for the next couple of hours. Then they opened the door of the cell and threw him in. We cleaned him up as well as we could. The cell in which we lived had a concrete slab in the middle of which we slept. 4 naked light bulbs hung in each corner of the room. And as said, we tried to clean up Mike as well as we could. After the excitement died down, I looked in the corner of the room, and sitting there beneath that dim light bulb with a piece of red cloth, another shirt, and his bamboo needle was my friend, Mike Christian. He was sitting there with his eyes almost shut from the beating he had received, making another American flag. He was not making the flag because it made Mike Christian feel better. He was making that flag because he knew how important it was to us to be able to pledge allegiance to our flag and our country. So the next time you say the Pledge of Allegiance, you must never forget the sacrifice and courage that thousands of Americans have made to build our nation and promote freedom from around the world. You must remember our duty, our honor, and our country.
After the flag is completely folded and tucked in, it takes on the appearance of a cocked hat, ever reminding us of the soldiers who served under General George Washington and the sailors and Marines who served under Captain John Paul Jones, who were followed by their comrades, shipmates in the armed forces of the United States, preserving for us the rights and privileges and freedoms we enjoy today.
And we thank Mrs. Shaleski for the use of her husband's flag. Thank you. All right. So wasn't that great? It was great, and that taps.
I love taps.
It tears me up every single
Yeah,
time.
me too.
And the woman that does taps, Lizzie Alstead, Doris found her several years ago at some event, and she is a UW. She was in the UW band.
Oh, awesome.
And she was still in it, and Doris said, "Would you come and play taps?" And she said, "Sure." And so I think it's been, I don't know, 5 or 6 years that every
been a
single
long
year
time she's come.
Yeah, Lizzie, I watched her graduate. She has a full-time job in
Yeah.
real life, and
Cool.
yeah, she's awesome. And she said, "I will come back every single year. It's my gift to the veterans." So yeah, I
That's
just
so
love
cool.
that.
Gives you chills.
It does. And then we had Gunderson's Funeral Home because we needed some flag folders. And, I made the assumption that anybody in the military knew how to properly fold a flag, but that was not true.
Not so.
The higher echelons actually didn't, some of the folks.
Oh.
And so someone suggested I call Gunderson's and Rick Vanderhorf, and he brought Mark Linder, and they worked with Al Bach's son, Dan Bach.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah. So that was really
Nice.
cool, and it was really educational because there's, I think, 16 folds to the flag, and each one represents
Wow.
something else. So Bob Hillner, who's our treasurer at the Friends group, read each fold, and so educational for the audience and the kids.
Yeah.
So super
That's
fun.
awesome.
Yeah, it was a great day. So yeah. So Sarah, what's coming up?
All right, coming up next on Talking Fitchburg, we find out from Andrew, formerly known as the PB&J segment, now upgraded to the
Upgraded.
SB&J segment. We're going to find out from Andrew what that's all about. You're
All right.
watching Talking Fitchburg.